Okay, what I see on the assignments I've been looking at, not that I'm mad, it happens, is that we are struggling with this step when we have more than one x, okay? So that's what this packet here focuses on. To solve the greater than part, we need a number line because the nose points this way, that's greater than. Okay, so I'm going to need my number line. There will not be any parentheses, but now what you need to do is all these problems have more than one x. You need to decide if you're going to add them, if they're on the same side, or if they're on the opposite side, we switch the right to its opposite. Okay, so you can see these two x's, they're on the same side. So since they're on the same side, I'm going to draw this little triangle connecting them, and I write the word add, okay? So I add -3 plus 5, okay? I got 2, so 2x. And then I can cross out those, okay? And then I have plus 4, I have the sign, and then I have 10. Now dot and circle your x and decide if the sign switches. If the dot's negative, yes. If it's positive, no. So it's a positive 2 in there, so we will not change the sign. Add or subtract if you have a number outside the circle. Okay, so we subtract. So I've got 2.x, got the sign, and then I've got 6. Now divide, and then we got x, the sign, 6 divided by 2 is 3, okay? So 3 is my critical number, circle, don't fill it in because there's not the sign, it goes this way. Okay, now, next problem, number line. There are no parentheses, but you can only have one x. Well, we have 2x and 5x. But this time they are not on the same side, they're on opposite sides. Okay, so if they're on opposite sides, we switch the right to opposite. So opposite of positive 5x is negative 5x. Cross it out and then go under here. Okay, so 2 minus 5 is negative 3x, and then minus 3, the sign, and then 12. Okay, now dot and circle your x. Okay. Is the dot negative? Yes, it is. There's a negative, so that sign will become a greater than sign because eventually at the end, when I get here, I will divide both sides by negative. Okay, so add or subtract if you have a number outside the circle. So plus 3, plus 3. So -3.x, the sign, and then 15. Now, I have a lot of people just putting 15 here. No, you have to divide. Okay, so x. 15 divided by -3 is -5. So the critical number is -5. You circle it. You will fill it in because the line is there. It goes this way. Okay, my next problem. Number line. No parentheses, there are none. You can only have one x. Okay, so I've got x here and here. They're on the same side of the inequality, the greater than sign. So if they're on the same side, I'm going to connect them here. Okay, connect those and write add. Okay, so 5 plus 3 is 8, so 8x. Minus 2, and then 16. Now, dot and circle your x, okay? Since that's positive, the sign will not change, okay? Now, outside our circle, I have a -2, so I need to switch that to +2. So 8.x, the sign, and then 6/18. Now I divide by 8. I've got x, and 18 divided by 8 will be a decimal, but that's all right, okay? 2.25. So 2.25, we circle, we fill, because the line's there, and then the nose goes that way, so it's greater than. Okay, next problem. Number line. No parentheses. You can only have one x. Well, there's two of them, the 5x and the 8x. They are on opposite sides. So on opposite sides, you switch the right to its opposite. So -8x minus 8x. So 5 minus 8 is -3x minus 4, the sign, and then 17. Okay, now it's time to dot and circle our only x that we have. Okay, and there's a negative. Well, that means the sign goes back the other way. Okay, so I have a -4. I'm going to +4, +4. So -3 dot x, 21. Okay, now it is time to divide. Okay, so I have x, and 21 divided by -3 is -7. Okay, so -7 is the critical number here. We do want to fill it in, and then the nose points that way. Next problem. -2x plus 3 plus -4x is greater than 15. There are no parentheses, but we have two different x's. Okay. Here's my sign. They're on the same side. So same side. Okay. So if they're on the same side, I'm going to draw that triangle and write the word add. Okay. And add them. I take -2 plus -4. -6. So I have -6x, and then I cross the x's out, plus 3, the sign, and then 15. Okay. Now that I only have one single x, I can dot it and circle it. It's a negative, so the sign goes the other way. So we have +3, so I got a -3. So -6 dot x, the sign, and 15 minus 3 is 12. Okay, then I divide by -6, -6. So I've got x. 12 divided by -6 is -2. Okay, so -2 is my critical number. There is no bar, so it goes that way. Okay, my next problem. 7x minus 4 is less than 8x plus 13. Okay, number line, there are no parentheses, but these two x's, I can't have two of them. Okay, look at the sign here and here. Okay, they are on opposite sides. So if they're on opposite sides, you switch the right to its opposite, and then it goes away there, and then I need to minus 8x. So 7 minus 8 is -1x, minus 4, the sign, and then 13. Okay, now that this is the only x, we can dot it and circle it. And and that sign can go the other way because it's negative. You have a negative 1 in there. So add 4, so negative 1 dot x, sine, and 17. Now I go divide. So I have x and negative 17. Okay, so my critical number is negative 17. It's no line there, so. Okay, next problem. 9x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 10x minus 3. Okay, no parentheses. We don't have any. You can only have one x. Okay, and we have two of them. Okay, 9x and 10x. This is my sign. They're on opposite sides of that sign. Okay, so again, when they're on opposite sides, we switch the right to its opposite. So 10x. So 9 minus 10 is negative 1x plus 4 and negative 3. Okay. Now I'm going to dot my negative 1x and circle it. Now you have a negative there, so the sign we know goes the other way. Okay, I've got plus 4, so I'm going to minus 4, minus 4. Negative 3 minus 4, okay, it's going to be negative 7. And then I divide by negative 1. So I got x, and negative 7 divided by negative 1 is 7. So I have 7. The lines there, fill it in. Nose goes that way. Okay. All right, my next one. No parentheses. You can only have one x. Same side or opposite sides. Here's my sign. They're on the same side. Okay? So if they're on the same side, we're going to connect them. And when I connect them, that means I add them. So negative 2 plus negative 6 is negative 8. Okay, so I've got negative 8x, and then I can cross those out. Plus 5, 23. Okay, so now that this is the only x I have, I dot it and circle it. It's negative, so that sign's going back the other way. So I'm minus 5, minus 5. Okay. So I've got negative 8 dot x, the sign, and 23 minus 5 is 18. Now it is time to divide. So I've got x. 18 divided by negative 8 is negative 2.25. It's a decimal. That's all right. So negative 2.25, circle. But don't fill it in because there's no line, and then the nose points that way, so it's less than. Okay, now you have 4 problems to do on your own. Let's do a decent job of it now. There's 2 that are on the same side, 2 that are on opposite sides. Now let's look at the other packet. Okay, there are no practice problems. The assignment will be graded by watching the video and taking notes along with it. Okay. Solve the inequality. Okay, graph the inequality is what that should say. So, you can see you have the inequality itself. Y is less than or equal to 5 times x minus 4, and then it says TF. Now, we're not doing anything down there till the line's graphed. Okay, now this is y, and this is x, okay? Now, those x and y, are they on the same or opposite sides of that sign? They are on opposite sides, okay? Okay, whoops, I got this mixed around. You have it right on your sheet. Okay, so same. And that is what you do on the opposite. Okay, I screwed that up, but you have it right on your paper. Okay. So those X and Y are on the opposite side. So they're on opposite. So if they're on opposite side, X and Y, we use the slope and the Y-intercept. So slope, Y-intercept. Now listen how to do this, okay? Your slope is whatever's in front of the X, 5, but it needs to be a fraction, so we will put a 1 under it. And the y-intercept is whatever's being added or subtracted to the 5x. In this case, it's a 4, so negative 4. Okay, so the y-intercept is vertical, so I go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to circle that because I need to move from here on a slope. Okay, slope is vertical, so it will be up and then to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, 1. There's the line. Now don't be lazy, you need to make your line big, okay? And there are two sides to the line, this side and this side. One contains all the true points, one side does, and the other side contains all false points. I got to figure out which side it is that has all the true points. So I pick my favorite little point here in the middle, okay? And at that point, X is 0 and Y is 0, okay? That's what that point represents. So the y and the x have to come out, and we put 0 in. So y has nothing beside it, so I scribbled out, put 0. And then the x has a 5 beside it, so parentheses it and put 0. So now I go down here. I go 0, put my sign, 5 parentheses 0 minus 4. Now this is the side that's got all the action, so I cross out that side. 5 parentheses 0 minus 4, okay? I got negative 4. If you have one of these calculators, you go 5, but instead of parentheses, hit times 0 minus 4, okay? Negative 4. Okay, so what is bigger, 0 or smaller, 0 or negative 4? Well, here's my smaller one. Does the nose point towards that? It does not, so that is false. So I put an F, and then go to the other side, and that's true, okay? It's not hard if you follow directions kind of accordingly. Okay, my next one, 3x minus 5y is greater than or equal to 30. So, x and y are both in this, okay? Now, here's my sign, that circle. Are they on the same side of the circle? Are they on opposite sides? Looks like they're on the same side, okay? So if they're on the same side, we're using this method, the 0, 0, okay? Go over here and give yourself some room, okay? So 0, 0, you're going to need it. Write it out twice, but when you write it out twice with equals, okay? Don't just write a regular equals, so 3x minus 5y equals 30, and then write it again. So if x is 0, we can scribble it out, okay? Cross dot, and then I can just divide. 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. Okay, now the y is 0, so we scribble out the y, and I dot my x, and I divide by 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Okay. So remember what these mean. The x is this way, okay? So stay, st, and that would be to the right. Okay, negative 6, so I'd go up, down, so down, the y is up and down, and stay. Okay, so stay and go down 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when you're doing a table, you always go back to the middle when you graph another point. So I go right 10 and stay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't make it, so I'm going to go by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, and then just connect them. And we have our line. Okay, now the true-false test. You have to do this when you have greater than and less than signs in graphing. Pick my favorite point right here. Easiest point on a graph. That's 0, 0. So here's x. It's got a 3 beside it, so I put 0. And here's y. It's got a 5 beside it. I put 0. Now, write it. You have a 3, parentheses 0, minus 5, parentheses 0, and then the sign, and then 30. Now this is the side we cross out. So 3 parentheses 0 minus 5 parentheses 0, I got 0. So what is bigger? What's smaller? 0 is smaller. The nose should go towards 0, but it doesn't. If it doesn't, that's false. So false, the other side's true. Okay, my next problem. X is greater than or equal to negative 3. So this one, there's only x, okay? So I don't need to worry about y, so only x means I make my table. And the y that's not there is going to be 1, 2, and 3. And then the x is going to be whatever numbers here. So since it's negative 3, we're going to go negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. Okay? And since those are all negatives, we go left, left, and left. And then this is up or down. Well, up, up, up. So negative 3, 1. 1, 2, 3 up 1. Negative 3, 2. Back to the middle. Whenever we're doing an XY table, this is what we need to do. Back to the middle, left 3, up 3. Okay. It's a straight line. And I need to pick my favorite point. 0 and 0. Okay. So here's the x, nothing beside it. Just put 0 and then bring it down here. So you got 0, the sign, and negative 3. Now, a negative is smaller than 0, so this is my smaller number. The nose does point towards that, okay? So that's true. So I put a true. That means any point on this side's true, any point on the other side is false. Okay, my next problem. Y is less than or equal to 3/5 x minus 4. Well, x and y are both here, okay? So here's my sign. They're on opposite, okay? So, opposite side will be the slope and y-intercept, okay? No table, just slope, y-intercept. The slope is in front of the x. It's 3/5. And the y-intercept, since a 4 is being subtracted, it's negative 4. Now, this would be down. 1, 2, 3. And then I move from here. Okay, so I'm going to write start whenever that's the case. So the slope is up and to the right. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not hard. Okay, true, false. Pick our favorite point right here. Okay, so y has nothing beside it. It will be just replaced with 0, and the x has a 3/5 beside it. So parenthesize that, put 0. So I've got 0. I've got the sign. I've got 3/5. and then 0 minus 4. Okay, now with this calculator, you just go 3ABC5, parentheses 0 minus 4. I got negative 4. Now in those big calculators that a few of you have, this is how you do the fraction. Let me remind you, okay? We will need to put a parentheses and 3 divided by 5, okay? And then another parentheses with 0 right beside it, and then minus 4, negative 4. Now, negatives is always smaller. The nose does not point towards that, so that's false. It should be pointing towards it to make it true. So that's a false sentence, so that's false. That means any point over here is going to make a false sentence. Any point over here is a true sentence. Okay, next one. Here's y, here's x, okay? They're both here on opposite sides. Okay. So opposite sides is slope and y-intercept. So the slope is negative 2/5, and the y-intercept is positive 3. So I go up 1, 2, 3. And then I go start from there, okay, and I go down because it's negative, and to the right. So down 2, right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. Make your line. Okay, so I've split it into 2 sides. That's the dividing line, okay. So x is 0, y is 0, okay? All right, so y has nothing in front of it, so put 0. X has negative 2/5 in front of it, so parenthesize it and put 0. And now do your true false. So you got 0, the sign, negative 2/5, parentheses 0, plus 3. Cross that out, okay? I got 3, okay? Now, if you have the other kind of calculator, remember you need to parenthesize your fraction, okay? And hit divided by. Just hit divided by. And then another parentheses with 0 and plus 3, okay? That's still 3. All right, so here's my smaller number. It does not point towards that. That is false. So F and T, okay? All these would make a true sentence. Every point over here makes a false sentence. Okay, my next problem, the X and Y are both here, okay? But they appear to me like they're on the same side, okay? So same. Okay, so we write it out twice, but we write it with equals. So 4x minus 2y equals 16, and then right here. Okay, so if I have the 0, we can scribble it out. I dot, and then I divide. 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8. Okay. Y 0, scribble out y. Dot your x, and I divide by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Okay, now 0. The x is this way, so that is stay and move to the right. The y is up and down. That would be down because of the negative and stay. So I graph those together. So I stay, go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, anytime with tables, we go back to the middle and do the next one. Start all over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's not like a slope where you move from the first point. Okay, now x equals 0, y equals 0. We will replace both those. So 0, 0. So 4 parentheses 0 minus 2 parentheses 0, the sine, and 16. Okay, so 4 parentheses 0 minus 2 parentheses 0 is 0. So 0 is obviously the smaller number, but the nose does not point towards 0. That's false. So this is false, and this is true. Next problem. Well, it appears I only have x, okay? So what do I do when I only have x? Well, y is 1, 2, and 3, and then x is the number here. Now, x is horizontally, so these are negatives, so that means left, and y is up and down. So I go left 4, 2, 3, 4, up 1. Left 4, up 2. On tables, you go back and start over at the middle. So left 4, up 3. Okay. Now your true-false test. Favorite point right here. Best point to test. X has nothing beside it. I just put 0. So I have 0, the sine, and negative 4. Now negative 4 is smaller than the 0, and the nose does not point towards that, making this false. So false and true. Okay, my last one, finally. The x and y are both here. They're on opposite sides, so opposite. So I would go slope, and I would go y-intercept with that. Slope is negative 3, but it needs a number under it. And the y-intercept's positive 3. Now listen, okay? The y is up or down, so up, 1, 2, 3. And then with a slope, I start from that point. I don't go back to the middle. Now this is down and to the right. How much easier could it be? We just go down 1, 2, 3, right 1. Okay. All right, now for my test right here, and that is 0, and that is 0. Okay. So y can be scribbled out and replaced with 0. And the x, there's a negative 3. That gets replaced with 0. So I have 0. I have the sine. I have negative 3, parentheses 0, plus 3. Cross that out. Okay. So negative 3 times 0 plus 3 is 3. Well, 0 is smaller, okay? And the nose points towards it. So that is true, because we have true. And the other side's the false.